September 11 was the most devastating terrorist attack on the Western world.
Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
Those 19 Islamic extremists were not just guilty of the murder of nearly 3,000 that day, they were guilty of further dividing the West and Muslim world.
My first thought was, oh my God, how many people are hurt, how many people are dead? And my second thought was, I hope it's not those stupid Muslims.
Muslims like Hussein Rashid immediately knew what 9/11 meant for his people, and they soon faced reprisal attacks, racial profiling and hatred.
People calling my 3-year-old daughter an effing terrorist in the middle of a toy store just because she's dark-skinned. I mean, that to me just breaks my heart.
9/11's impact on Muslims is not just anecdotal. It was the cause for the preceding wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which has so far killed at least 130,000 Muslim civilians, over 40 times the number of people killed on September 11.
And the taxes were like...
Talat Hamdani's son Salman is one of the 32 Muslims who died on 9/11.
As a mother, my blood has been shed, and some good has to come out of it.
A part-time paramedic, Sal was on the train to Manhattan when he saw the burning towers and raced in to help.
We all knew that he would go down there. And he did not wait to think, should I rescue a Chinese person or should I rescue an Arab man or a Jew? No.
When Talat didn't get her usual nightly call from Sal, she knew something was wrong and headed down to Ground Zero to find him.
We went through 2 lists, but his name was on neither the injured nor the, the dead lists.
Days later, as Talat continued to pray for her son's safe return, a wanted poster with Sal's face went up at Ground Zero. Police told her Sal had been detained. Sal's brothers were questioned and the media began camping outside Talat's house.
So do they think Sal was one of the terrorists?
Yes, yeah. And the next day, New York Post ran a story, missing or hiding, with the implication that he was seen at 11 a.m. by the Midtown Tunnel. He walked out of the house with the Quran in his hand as though he was a warrior.
A Muslim name and a background in chemistry was enough to label Salman a terrorist. But he wasn't a terrorist. He was just a 23-year-old guy who paid the ultimate price while trying to save others. In March 2002, Sal's body was identified. When Talat asked when he'd been found, they told her 6 months earlier.
I asked him, why did it take you 6 months or 5 months to notify us? And he gave that nonsense, bullcrap story that he were in 34 pieces. We had to identify 34 pieces with each other. You identify one bone through DNA and you are confirmed, forget about the other 33 pieces, But they did give us his genes.
That's just heartbreaking to think for that 6-month period where you could have...
The hope was so intense, that he will come home. And I remember my boys, the New York Times would print the names of dead every day. And my boys would ask, his name is not there, his name is not there,
2 years later, Talat's husband, as she says, died of heartbreak.
Has anyone ever apologised to you for how they treated Sal and treated your family?
Nobody.
10 years on, Talat continues to struggle with the injustice she has suffered. But she refuses to leave America, choosing to honour Sal's memory by fighting against Islamophobia.
How do I feel about the terrorists? I don't know who they were. And they have done a very, grave injustice to all the Muslims. And we are paying the price.